Use case diagram is one of the most important diagrams you will be ever using in your business analyst career. Trust me, you will face interviews and interviewer will be asking a lot of questions from the use case diagram. This is a pretty well commonly used, broadly used diagram. Everybody understands what is this use case and they know what they are doing, and probably as an interviewer they will be asking you the questions a lot. So you have to be really focusing more on this use case diagram and understand in details. Use case diagrams will make your life really easy. So it provides you the graphical view of the system functionality. When I'm saying one system functionality, let me take an example. The ATM machine, everybody has used this before. I know that it's a pretty common system boundary where you go ahead, insert your ATM card, and you do different transactions. Either you check your balance, you deposit cash, you withdraw cash, you change your phone number, whatever. So this ATM system is a boundary. Within that boundary, there are different actions you're doing. You're checking your balance, you're withdrawing cash, changing your phone number or details, whatever. So this use case diagram will provide you the graphical view of all those functionalities within the system boundary, whatever you are doing, a different ways of doing all those actions within that boundary. So if I have to explain in detail how this ATM machine works, I may end up writing like 50 pages of the documentation explaining what happens and what are the different steps and stages how you would do. And I can just create one page of use case diagram and can explain everything in detail within one system boundary. So when I'm referring system boundary is nothing but within that boundary, we are doing different activities. So for the ATM machine, there will be one system boundary. Within the system boundary, there will be different use cases, like you're checking your balance, you're withdrawing amount. So these all actions or use cases are happening within one system boundary. So you don't need to be confused when I'm referring system boundary. So use case, it describes the interactions between the user and the system. Say an example, who is a user? We may be one of the users because we are going ahead and checking the balance in the ATM or withdrawing the amount. So I am the user, you are the user, right? So this use case diagram will help us understand the different relationship between that user and different actions within that system boundary, and what are the different steps involved to complete or achieve some specific goal. So my specific goal is I wanted to withdraw some amount. That is my ultimate goal. So using use case diagram, you can explain in detail, or using the diagrams, pictures, and you can also explain what are the different steps I have to take as a user in order for me to get my amount, whatever I'm going to go and withdraw from that ATM machine. So basically, you will explain how do you achieve your goals easily and what are the different steps involved within that system boundary for that user. Clear? So use case is something that explains, okay, who are the actors and what are the different use cases within that system boundary. Now, actor is nothing but the user. I'm the user. So in use case language, you will refer me as an actor. You will not write a user, but you will write an actor. I'm actor. Actor is someone who is acting, who is doing something, who is doing some primary actions, right? To achieve some goals, to achieve something that I wanted to do. So someone who is directly taking some action will be an actor. Now, in the use case terms, we refer them actor, and you see that image in the screen. This is how we, denote or design or present them whenever we are referring actors in that use case boundary. Now, this oval, the shape that you see with the yellow highlighted within, this is use case. This will not be yellow highlighted always. Just I have given you for your understanding. So this will not be square. This will always be oval. And within this oval, we write different use cases. So whenever I'm writing use cases, I'll use this oval box, and within that box, I will write the action. The action will be referred as the use case. Say an example, I'm going to go to the ATM machine. I'm inserting my card. So inserting a card could be one of my use cases. So I will write within this over insert card. And then the next, I need to enter my PIN number, ATM PIN. So I will also draw one next this over box, and within that box, I will write enter your PIN. So that enter a PIN will be my another use case. So use case is nothing but your different actions. Enter your PIN, select your language, select your options, if you would like to withdraw or check balance or do whatever else. So all those different actions are use cases. And we would write all those use cases within this over box. And who is doing all those actions? This actor. So this is how we will do it. Denote. I'll show you in different use cases that this will be easy for you to understand. So before I go ahead, these are the two major components within the use cases, actors and the use cases. How does system boundary look like? This is nothing but the big box. So you will just first draw this box, and within this box, you will write every use case. All the use cases you will be writing within this box. Now the question, it is really mandatory to write this system boundary? No, you do not. You do not. If you would like to learn and make things clear for yourself, you can start using this system boundary. First, draw this rectangular line as a system boundary, name this system as like ATM machine or whatever. And then within this system boundary, you write all those use cases. Now, actors are always external. You have to remember. So actors will always be outside of this system boundary. And then all the use cases will be written within this system boundary. We'll see the examples. Now, use case here, you can see we have already explained in detail what is the use case. So this is just a system behavior of different functions. I just told you, entering a PIN, checking your balance, taking different actions, different functionalities are referred as a use case. It tells what is being done. It doesn't tell how system is performing all those actions. Say an example, when use case is asking you to enter a PIN, it's just asking what you need to do. You have to enter the PIN. It does not tell how that system is going to go ahead and check if the PIN is correct or not. This will not tell you. Having said, whenever you're writing the use cases, use case will never tell, or you should never try to explain in the use case diagram that how system is behaving. You will only show what system is doing and what are different stages of the system. That's all and nothing else. And you also will write the scenarios, different scenarios that the use case will go from one state to another, from start to end. Whenever you're achieving some goals, you're starting from somewhere, you're triggering some actions, and then you're achieving some goals. So what will be the different path your actor will be going through to achieve that goal? This use case diagram will tell those things only, and not how things are happening. Some of the important use case components that you have to really understand in really pretty well. Any questions, please stop me and ask, because I want you to understand things in detail. So these are very important use case components that you will always be using whenever you write the use case. Number one, we have been just talking in detail about the actors. So actors are always external. This could be a human being, this could be a machine as well. The actor could be primary and actor could be secondary. The primary actor is someone who is doing the primary actions. Say an example, the user, the ATM card holder who is inserting the ATM and doing different actions. So that ATM card holder will be the primary actor. Now there will be a secondary actor as well. As I said, actor could be a human or a machine or some code. So the human actor is someone who is inserting the card and inserting the PIN number. And the secondary actor will be the machine who will actually validating if the user has a valid ATM or not, if the ATM is the ATM PIN is valid or not. So all those validation is being done by the secondary actor, which is nothing but your server, your machine, your set of codes that is working, from somewhere else. So as a business analyst, this is very important for you to figure out and clearly detail who is a primary actor and who is a secondary actor and what are different actions they both are doing in your documentations. So How would you write? When you draw the use case diagrams, in some of the organizations, they will also want you to write the use case documents. So within that use case document, you will explain in detail about that particular use case. Now, how does it look like? We will study in detail in this course. All right, so specialized actors. Who are the specialized actors? This is nothing but, let's say I have three actors, actor 1, 2, and 3. So I'm giving the authority of actor 2 and 3 that they can do everything what actor 1 can do. Could be different situations, in your requirement gathering process. There could be one requirement where customer wants, your business wants, that all three actors can do the same thing what actor 1 is doing. So you don't want to write three different use cases just to demonstrate, okay, actor 2 is doing the same thing, and then you are just copy and pasting and making the same thing for actor 3. No, you don't need to. You can use just one simple, the same diagram for all these actors. So you will just simply write the specialized actors the way I've written here. It just tells actor 2 and 3 can do exactly the same thing that actor 1 can do. And then from actor 1, you can continue with your diagrams, and that will be understood, okay, this diagram is something all these three actors can do. You don't need to repeat, copy and paste and create three different versions of the same thing. Just because you wanted to say or demonstrate these two actors can also do what actor 1 can do. You don't need to. You can save your time using this specialized actor way. In use case, we have some relationship. The number one relationship we have include, and the other one is extend. Now, if you see the diagram that I've written use case 1, and there's an arrow going to the use case 2, and I have written like small dot that says use the includes. Let me use my mouse. So this use case, this oval box has use case 1. Now use case 1, I'm just did not write the actual use case. This could be anything like login or view or delete, whatever. I'm not sure. For now, just to make you understand, this is the way we write the relationship. This will always be there this way. You have starting this way and then write includes and then close this paragraph the same way. And then we have a use case 2, and then there is an arrow going on here. And we also have extend. Extend, you will see the arrow is moving in the opposite direction. It is coming here on use case 1. You see it? So now what are these two relationships? Include is mandatory. That means use case 2 you cannot do unless you have completed use case 1. This is mandatory. If include relationship is there, that means I cannot complete use case 2 unless I have already completed use case 1. Say an example. You're going to Amazon.com, and then you have to see your profile. So let's say this use case 2 is nothing but your profile, view profile. Can you see your profile unless you're not logged in? So this use case 1 will be login. So use case 1 is login. So in order for you to go and view your profile, you must be login. So this include relationship will explain the developers that the user cannot view the profile unless he or she is logged in. So they will write the code the way that this will prompt the user, you must log in before you are going ahead and looking at your profile. So that's how this include relationship tells the developers in the design. Now extends is like optional. Let's say I have logged in. Now I see my profile. Now, if I want, I can change this. I can update it. Let's say I'm in my profile sections, right? So I would like to change my phone number. I would like to change my address. That is optional. So this extend relationship tells the optional, right? So use case 2 is optional on use case 1. Use case 1 is like view your profile. I can view profile right now, but if I want, I can also change my phone number, but that is not required. So you see this extend, the arrow has come to the use case 1. So this arrow will help you understand how things are moving ahead. Nowadays, I have also seen a trend. People do not use these arrows. They can use these arrows in any direction. That doesn't matter. The only thing is they have this include written. So whenever you see the include, you will for sure understand, okay, this is mandatory, you have to do this. And extend as in this is optional. It may invoke use case 2, it may not invoke use case 2. It's completely optional. It's not mandatory. But if for you to understand, if from use case 1 to use case 2, if the arrow goes there and you have include, that means use case 2 is something depending on use case 1. So use case 1 must have been done before I can do the use case 2. If this arrow is going here in these directions and with an extend relationship, that means use case 2 is optional on use case 1. I want, I can do. I do not want, I can simply ignore it. Clear? You will understand more with the example. Let me show you the example. It's just like simple use case. You've seen like this is the actor, this is the system boundary. System boundary is video rental system. I'm just trying to make one system boundary where user can rent a videos. Now this was happening way before in the 80s. Nowadays we don't have this thing there. Everything is available free of cost here and there. But anyways, so this actor is someone, is a store staff, and this store staff will be reserving some videos for someone. So this is the system boundary that says video rental system, and this store staff is renting a video, rent a video. It's a simple use case. This is how you can draw things here. Now let's see some includes example. So this everything is happening within that system boundary. You remember I showed you the system boundary. So give me 1 second. So let's say this could be your system boundary. This is the system boundary. Everything is happening within system boundary, and this user store stuff is the actor, which is external. Actors are always external. You have to remember this thing. So here, this store staff is going ahead and renting a video or returning a video. There are two use cases here. The number one use case is rent a video, and the other use case is return a video. Either cases, if the store staff has to either rent or return, he must find a member. If he does not find a member, how would he know what member this video is going to be returning or renting? So this find use case is mandatory. He has to do no matter what. Do you see this example includes? So this arrow is coming to find a member use case, both the use cases. So, and this has include relationship. So whenever as a developer, I will see it, I know in order for the store staff, this is the user, to find a member, to rent a video and to return a video, he must find a member. So this is important. You have to do this no matter what. This has to be completed. Find a member, and then only you can rent a video, you can return a video. So there are three use cases here. The one is rent video, second one is return video, and third one is find video. But the relationship says this find video has an include relationship with return and with rent both. That means in order for us to complete this rent video use case and return video use case, we must perform this find member. If we do not find member, we cannot rent or return video. So this is what the meaning of this include relationship. Exclude example. I'll show you the exclude example here. Same example, I'm just extending a little bit more. So the store staff is going to rent a video, return a video, or member inquiry. Now we have added one more use case here, which is member inquiry. Let's see the first one. Rent a video. So when the moment the store staff is renting a video, if he or she wants, they can use the previous reservation number. As a user, I might have reserved already through online or through any other ways. I may have visited the store and made some reservation for some different days. I'm going to come on this Friday evening and I'll take this video, just reserve it for me. Or I have done that reservation online. So the store staff can use that reservation number as well to rent this video. See, this is an optional, extend as an optional. He may simply go ahead and create one new reservation and give that video to the person, and the person will not even know, if that was done by a reservation or just a new, reservation is being made at the same time. So these are optionals. If he has number, he can use it, or does not use it. He may, member has previously reserved the video from any XYZ media, and then he can use. These are optional, or he may simply create a fresh reservation and can give this to customer. Second use case we have is return a video. So while returning, if this person wants, this can disqualify the member as well. Okay, you have given us back the video. I am taking it, closing that return, but while closing, I'm also going and disqualifying you as one of the existing members. The reason could be anything. Why this member is being disqualified? Probably the member declines to pay a fine or late return fee, whatever. So, okay, I can disqualify you. Or probably this member has like rental dues for more than 6 months. So as per the company policies, you have to be disqualified. So this is optional. You see, while renting a video, this person can also disqualify, and these could be the reasons. Now, this is the way you can explain the reasons. Let's say business has given you the reasons. If any of the members has 6 months due outstanding, you have to disqualify that. That's a business rules. So you as a BA will use this box and write those business rules so that the developer can understand and put restrictions there. Cool. But here we see this is an extend. That means optional. So this completely depends upon the storage staff if he or she would like to disqualify or not. Even though this member has 6 months due, with some discussions, he may decide not to disqualify. So this is the difference between extend and include. If this is include, that means this has to be disqualified. But in extend, no. This is just optional. Now, don't be confused on these arrows. As I said, arrows can be in either direction. That doesn't matter. You just have to see this extend relationship, and then you have to decide, okay, what I'm going to do accordingly. Similarly, the storage service doing a member inquiry and deciding to disqualify the member, right? A member, he has the member ID number or phone number, whatever. If he did some inquiry, he found that member, and then he decided to disqualify because either of these two is happening. Probably a member has declined to pay the fee, or member has like rentals overdue for more than 6 months. So the person can decide to disqualify them. Any questions on this one?
No, not really.
Okay. So here the specialized use case actors. So this is how you can draw. So the storage staff is the primary actor, or maybe the member can be the primary. Both can be the primary actors here. So here, if you see, there are 3 use cases: reserve video in store, or reserve video online, right? So these 2 use cases are the specialized use cases for this one. Reserve video is the main use case, but this is being done either in a store or online. And these 2 actors can do the same thing. Either a store staff can do, or the members itself can do. Let's say I'm a member. I can go online and reserve a video. I can go to the store and I can reserve a video for myself. Or I'm the store staff. I can reserve a video for someone online or in the store. So these are the specialized actors. These 2 actors can do the same thing. We don't have to write 2 different use cases to explain, okay, this is storage staff can reserve video in one use case, and I'm drawing the same thing for the members as well. No, I don't need to draw 2 different use cases. I can simply draw one in a way that people can understand, okay, these use cases are something common that anyone can do. Anyone as in the storage staff and members, they both can do these actions. Let's take everything at one place. So now, within this system boundary, this everything is happening. So here I will see we have storage staff as one of the actors here, and the member, one of the actors at the other side. So there's certain things that members and the storage staff, they both can do. That is something we're trying to show it here. So see, all these oval boxes are different use cases, different actions. And this extend includes our different relationship. And these 2 are the actors. This could be primary and secondary actor as well here. And this is the system boundary. So within this system boundary, there are certain things are happening. Let's try to understand what is happening within this system boundary, and who is doing and what relationships are there. So the storage staff can do a couple of things. The storage staff can do a couple of things. he or she can either record a new member details. Let's say I'm a new member, so store staff can go ahead and create a new member for me, for me in order to rent or buy the videos from there. So once stand-alone use case, it does not have any relationship here. Just simple one use case. Now the store staff can also reserve a video in a store, or the store staff can also reserve a video online. Ultimately, these are the specialized use cases, and ultimate action is reserving a video. So this store staff can do in store or online. The same thing, this member, external member, can also reserve a video through online or through visiting to the store. So here, if as a developer, if I see this section, I would understand, okay, reserving a video can be done either online or in a store, and both can do. Either a member can do themselves or store staff can do for the members. Pretty clear. Now, this creating a new member can only be done by the store staff. Here, as of now, we are not providing that option that a member can create an online account in this use case. I'm not saying that feature is not available, but it's in this use case that is not available. So as a user, as a developer, if I see it, I will not provide that option for the members that can create their users online. In this use case, that option is not there. But anyways, the other use case is we have seen the store staff can rent a video, and while renting a video, there are two relationship I see. The one is extend with this rent with reservation use case, and then include with find member. What does it mean? It means in order for the store staff to rent a video, he or she must find the member, because this is the included relationship. And once the member is found, he's renting a video. If he wants, he can use any internal reservations or any external reservations. It's optional, but this is mandatory. He has to find the member. This is optional. The same thing, while returning a video, either he has to find the member no matter what, but this is the included relationship. You see the included relationship. He has to find the member no matter what. And then this is extended relationship. That means once the member is found while returning a video, he or she can decide to disqualify the member. And reason, we have seen that before. True. Now, another use case, a member inquiry. This store staff is doing a member inquiry, and while inquiring, it deciding to disqualify the member with any XYZ reasons. So we have seen all these use cases in like 3-4 different pages. Instead of writing 4 different use cases in 4 different places, we can create just one common use case, and we can explain all the situations, scenarios here with different relationships here in this one diagram. So this use case could be really complex. We can have like so many use cases at one place, right? So just to show them the what is happening within this one system boundary. As a BA, we should try to make it simple. We don't want to put like so many things together so that people do not understand. Just make it simple, make it easy so that people understand. Add only those use cases that are highly required. Do not try to like add too much things. But at certain time, no matter what, you have to write different use cases to make that system boundary complete. Say an example within in our ATM machines example, there could be many things that you would be writing. And that ultimately, willingly or not willingly, you'll end up writing so many use cases within one system boundary. So now the question is, what is the way of drawing these use cases? Doesn't matter. You can draw whatever way works for you. You can write horizontal, you can write vertical, this direction, any direction, that doesn't matter. Actually doesn't matter. The only thing is you have to give the clear indication or interactions or flow of these use cases with this relationship. So someone is, for someone it is easy to draw top to bottom, go ahead, bottom to top, go ahead, left to right, right to left, doesn't matter. You can write whatever way it works for you. You only have to provide these relationships clearly, well defined, so that whoever is looking at these diagrams can understand easily what you mean by those things. Okay, questions? Any questions from anyone? Okay, I don't see any question in the chat right now. If you have any, please type in the chat. I'll just put the question. Now, coming back to the next section here, use case templates. Now, as I said, in some of the organizations, you will also end up writing a template for the use cases. So the use case diagram you have written at one place, you have explained in one system boundary what are different use cases, what are different relationship, what is the flow of that use case, and how we are achieving certain target and certain goal. Some org, they also want you to write everything in detail. You're writing detailed software requirement documentations, and you have drawn like 50 use cases. As per the company policies, you also have to write the use case documentations within that software requirement document, one of the sections. So when you write this use case document, what are different components you have to write there? So we are going to see all those things here in this section. This is going to be pretty interesting for you guys. So there are some preconditions. Preconditions is always coming from the business. As a business analyst, you will go to the business and business will give you some preconditions. So an example, in order for you to log in, you must have a valid username and password. So your use case will not start unless you have a username and password. So that is the preconditions. So in your documentation under precondition sections, you will write user must have a valid username and password. So that's a precondition. In interviews, interviewer will ask you what is preconditions in use case and what is post condition in use case. So you will simply tell them any business conditions is a prerequisite that you must have a username and password is your preconditions. Trigger is nothing but to initiate something, execute something. Something is in idle condition and you're going to go ahead and press and touch, and it triggers to do something. Next step, let's say an example, the ATM example. ATM machine is there, but it will not trigger any action unless you press your ATM card. So insert your ATM card. So inserting ATM card is triggering the next use case that will prompt you to enter your PIN number. So as a BA, it is also important for you to understand what is the different triggering points, and you would write in your documentation. Say an example, you are the BA and you're writing that ATM machine diagram, and you're also documenting those in a use case documentation. So you would also want to specify the trigger situation. This ATM machine will only activate when the user inserts the ATM card. So the moment the user inserts the ATM card, this will trigger the next use case. And what is that? Enter your PIN number. So that's a triggering point. So trigger is just a simple English word. It means initiating something. Let's say your phone is completely idle. So when you touch the phone screen, it triggers and it does something. It highlights your screen and it asks you to enter your PIN number or show your face ID, whatever. So that triggering is very initial starting point. From there, you're doing different things. So it's just like executing, initiating something. So you would also want to write in your documentation what are the different triggering points. Post condition is nothing but to achieving and the end target. My end target was to withdraw some amount. So what is the precondition? I must have a bank account. I must have an ATM card with me. Those could be my preconditions. If I do not have a bank account, even though I have an ATM card, that will not work. So my precondition will be I must have a valid bank account, or maybe I must have some amount or in that account. Post condition is what? I was able to withdraw some amount. So that's my post condition, nothing else. It's like end goal that you have achieved. So if interviewer is asking what is the precondition and what is the post condition in use case, the answer should be precondition is set by the business. An example, user must have a valid user ID and password. In your any different examples, in the banking examples, user must have a valid account number or a valid ATM card. And what is the post condition? I was able to complete their transactions. I was able to log in. I was able to see my data. I was able to withdraw the amount. That's my post condition in simple words. The end goal I have achieved. That's a post condition. Now, business rules. There could be some business rules as well. This is a very pretty common question in interview. They ask you what is business rules and how do you capture those business rules from the business. So business rules is nothing but some preconditions from the business that has to met no matter what. Say an example. So precondition says you must have a valid user ID and password. Correct? The business rules could be your password should not be less than 8 characters. Your passwords must have one special characters. Your password must have a number. These all are the business rules. So while working on the preconditions, while creating any user ID, business rule says the user ID must be the employee number. That's fine. That's my business requirement. In my company, all the employee number will by default be the user ID. That's my business rules. And the password must have minimum 8 characters, something like that. So these are the business rules. So when someone is asking you this question, you have to answer this way. Explain them with an example. This will be pretty easy for them. Now, this is very important. You will always 100% get a question in the interview. The interviewer will ask you, what is normal flow? What is alternate flow? And what is exceptions in use case? And these all are something you will be writing in your use case documentation as well. So try to understand pretty clearly. And if you have any doubts, please stop me and ask me the questions. So normal flow, as name says, a normal flow, you start from somewhere and you ended up doing whatever you wanted to do. That's a normal flow. The common scenario for the use case is like it describes different steps that you will take actions and you are achieving your expected goals. It's a normal flow. I went to the ATM card, ATM machine, inserted my card, entered my PIN, selected the amount and withdraw the amount. That's my normal flow. Everything was done clearly. What is alternate flow? Deviations. Alternate flow is nothing but the deviation. I may not be able to complete the transaction as it was expected. I may have some deviations and complete it. In the alternate flow and normal flow, the only difference is anyhow you will be achieving your target, but in alternate flow, maybe some different routes. I'm not taking the usual routes, I'm taking some different routes. Now, what could be the reason of taking those different routes? We will have some examples to make your understanding clear. But from here, normal flow is like normal flow. I inserted the ATM PIN, selected the amount, withdraw, done. Alternate flow, the flow will be completed, but in a different way. Probably not the way that we just discussed. Could be something different. So I'll give you the example. What does it mean by that? Exception is something, it might be completing that transaction, it might not be completing. Moreover, this will give you an error. Exception is an error. Just try to understand exception is an error. So as a BA, you also have to explain if any error is happening, what should be the response to that error. Say an example, you did not enter the correct PIN. There will be an error. So that is the exception, you got an error. How would you handle? What should be the responses? As a BA, you will also be documenting all those things. And who will give you those responses? Obviously, business. You will write all those things. So just to summarize, normal flow is usual flow. Alternate flow is like you're changing the route and completing that action. Exception, you may not be completing that transaction at all. It is stopped somewhere with some XYZ reasons, some errors. Now, let's see an example and try to understand in detail. I'm taking withdraw cash from ATM, one of the examples, one of the use cases. Now, what could be the normal flow? I inserted the ATM card and entered the PIN. Now, system is authenticating my user credentials. And then I selected withdraw cash. I entered some amount. System checks if I have the sufficient balance or not, funds in my account or not. And system dispenses me cash. I got my cash. I'm done. This is your normal flow. What is the alternate flow? I selected the withdraw cash option and entered the amount which is greater than the available amount in my account. I have only $1,000 in my account and I inserted $2,000 for the withdrawal. System will send me an error message and will ask me either I have to cancel the transaction or I have to change the amount. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and change the amount and I'll complete my transaction. So the transaction is still completing, but in a different way. I could not withdraw $2,000. I only withdrew $1,000 and that transaction did not complete in one go. It has some different actions where I had to change the amount and then complete my transactions. What could be the exception flow? During any of the phases, I accidentally clicked on cancel button and the complete transaction was canceled with an error. That is an exception. Got it? Or with any XYZ reason, system cancels your transaction and returns your ATM card back to you. So in exception, the transaction did not complete. Say an example, I entered the wrong PIN number. That is an exception. Or one more example of the exceptions. Let's say everything is fine. I have the sufficient balance. My ATM PIN is correct, and I'm trying to withdraw the balance which is under, whatever I have the funds in the amount. Everything is fine, but at the last screen, ATM machine tells you the ATM itself does not have any cash. So this will again, the transaction will not be completed. The ATM will give you some error. So that is also an example of the exception. Why I'm taking this ATM machine example? Because we have been using this a lot. So just to make your life simple, let's take one more example and try to understand. Now I'm going to go and order food online. One of the use cases. So what could be the normal flow? User is selecting a restaurant and viewing the menu items, and adding the items to the cart. User checks out and pays online. System confirms the order and provides an estimated delivery time. This is your normal flow. What is alternate flow? User adds an item to the cart that is not available. Let's say I have added 5 items. One of the items is not available. So system will give you an error and will ask you either remove it or select some other item from the, from the list. So as a user, I will decide to, okay, let me just remove that order that is not available, or let me go back and find something else and add and then proceed. So that's my alternate flow. So even here, I'm completing the transaction. Transaction is getting completed successfully, but seems with some alternate flows. Now, exactly the way I wanted. What could be the exceptions? User pays online, but the payment does not go through. With any XYZ reason, the payment declines, your bank declines the payment, or something has happened, the payment did not go through. The whole transaction will be canceled and you will get an error. That is an exception, right? So what will happen? This system will display an error message and will ask you to try again with the different payment methods. If you want, you can try. This time, this might complete. You can complete the transaction and you will get your estimated delivery timeline. So here, this is the exception. You got an error saying your payment is not going through with any reasons. So you may decide to cancel the transaction. This is done. You may decide to change the payment method and you can complete. So that will also be considered as an exception. Because exceptionally you have used a different card you have went through. So these are the simple examples. Interviewer will always ask you these questions. They will ask you to explain them what is normal flow, what is alternate flow, and what is the exception, and you'll have to provide these with an example so that they can understand. Otherwise, this will be really tough for them to understand, and this will be tough for you to help them understand. So just take an example. Remember any of the examples for your interviews and just give them the same example. You should be good. Now, here are the templates. As I said, everything is at one place. The template could be in simple Excel or simple Word, or nowadays people are using like fancy online tools. So you might have different tools where you will be writing all these use case the details. So in the template, you will have a use case ID. Say, an example, I've written UC014. Anything. The numbers, how do you write the numbers? This you might get something from your business. The nomenclature, what should you be writing? Sometimes you get from the business itself or from the company or your team itself. They're following certain the processes of writing those use case names and IDs. You can just start following the same thing. If not, you can create your own one. Let's say use case 01. Or let's say you're writing use case for the functional requirements. You would write UCFR1, anything, it doesn't matter. And then you will have the use case name. So what is the use case name? We have just seen the example: withdraw cash, change phone number, whatever, just whatever the name is there for the use case, you can write the name. And you will have the purpose. What is the purpose of this use case? You will explain while completing this use case, what are we going to achieve? So you will explain here in this section. Now you don't want to write like the Bibles. If you start writing 500 lines for this purposes, then it will not serve the purposes of writing those use case diagrams. So just try to keep it simple so that you just give them the only sufficient information, not too much, not too low. So actors, you will explain who the actors are, the primary actors or the secondary actors. In our ATM machine use case example, you will write there will be two actors. The primary actors will be the user who will do the main actions like the ATM card holder or the account holder. And the secondary actor will be the server who will validate the information. That's all. You will also write some preconditions. What will be the preconditions here? The user must have a valid account or saving account. The ATM card must be valid, must not expired. This could be your precondition. Now the triggers, you will write, okay, the user has to insert the ATM card in order for him or her to proceed further. So inserting ATM card will be your triggering point. Could be anything you can write. Normal flow, you can write, normal flow, you can write, we just explain what is the normal flow. User will insert the card and enter the PIN, select the option and complete the transaction. You will also write the alternate flows, some of the examples. Let's say in that particular use case example, you're showing the user did not have the sufficient amount, the balance in his or her account. So what is happening there? So you will also explain in this section. Post condition is nothing but the ideal condition. We have achieved the target. We have taken the amount and went back home. Some business rules, the ATM pin should not be less than 4 characters or ATM pin should at least be 6 characters, is completely depending upon the business. You will write all those business rules here. Exceptions, you will write, okay, say an example, if ATM does not have sufficient balance, what will happen? You will write those exceptions. If user accidentally clicks on cancel button, what will happen? You will explain here. If let's say the server loses the power or there's no internet, what will happen? That will also be an exception. The machine will give you an error. So you will also write here in the exception section. Come on, sorry about that. Exception. And then you will also write some of the relationship. In that particular use case boundary, what the relationship you have written, they include or extend, whatever. And then you may have some assumptions. You're assuming something. If this happens, then this will happen. You can write there. It's up to you. Any outstanding issues that something is still remaining in this use case. I have done everything, but there's one thing is remaining that I'm going to close and capture in the next use case. You may also want to inform the business here, or the developers here in this section. And if you have any special or non-functional requirements, you can also write in this section. So these are the kind of the templates. You will not necessarily be using all the options. That completely depends upon your org. Whatever they want you to write, you will write. You may add more sections, you may remove sections, or in some of the cases, you may not even write these the documents. You don't need to. Because there's always conflict. If I have to draw the use cases, why would I write all this in plain, simple English language? It's like I'm duplicating the work. True, but you have to follow the company rules, whatever they're saying.